Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield, and joining us on the show tonight we've got former Conservative advisor, is that right, James?
That's right.
James Price, and she's back, our lovely left in the corner, Stella Tsantekidou. Welcome back, Stella. So this week, guys, we've seen Sir Keir Starmer. He's over in China. Is he there, James, to choose the curtains and the soft furnishings for the new spy centre in London?
It certainly feels like it, doesn't it? I think I did the maths. This is his 38th overseas trip since he became Prime Minister, 18 months ago? Yeah. Which would be fine if everything was tickety-boo in the UK. It doesn't feel like it is, which I'm sure we'll talk about. The thing that really scares me about this is that Starmer has approved this mega embassy in London, and that looks like it's the price to pay for being able to go out to China in order just to kowtow to the Chinese premier. And this is a problem for me for a lot of different reasons. You've got the fact that this embassy has got all these dodgy rooms in the plan that will be in the basement. What is that about? Is it so that they can arrest Chinese dissidents who are living in the UK? Probably. Is it because it's located near a load of very serious underfloor cables that can either infiltrate in terms of our economic well-being and all the rest of it, as MI5 have come out and said. But it's the fact that Starmer is willing to throw away all of that in order to get out to China, to get what will be very negligible benefits for the United Kingdom. When Theresa May went out there last time, most of the things that she agreed never actually came to pass. And when she was out there, she was warned that she would have to get dressed in the morning under the covers of her bed because they would have cameras spying on her and trying to get pictures of her not wearing any clothes. Doesn't seem like a particularly good ally to me.
Let's move to our left in the corner. Stella, is this a sign of weakness from Starmer? Is he kowtowing to the Chinese? And should this embassy be built?
No, and if somebody who should have stopped this embassy being built, it should have been the Conservatives, because China bought the Royal Mint building that they are planning to build their embassy in 2018. Yep. So I'm wondering, if this was such a big problem, why didn't the Conservative government stop it there and there? Now, we are in a situation we are, and if Starmer was to stop this, then you understand that this would be diplomatically ruinous for the UK. We are finding ourselves at a time where our longtime ally, the US, is no longer acting like our ally. So I agree with Mark Carney, the President of Canada, who said that the middle-sized powers, like the UK, we need to band together, and we need to understand that the world order has changed. And there is no more America is the absolute ally. Our enemies are not eternal, our friends are not eternal.
It's like a coalition of the willing, where only two countries are actually willing to do anything, James.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
I don't agree with that analysis. Obviously, when you look at the level of, let's say on economics first of all, of investment from what you call FDI, foreign direct investment from China, It's something like 0.3% of the whole total, whereas the United States, almost £1 in every £3 comes from the US. So they're still far and away much more important than anybody else. The level of our intelligence sharing that goes on between the CIA and MI6 and all those sorts of types, way, way more important, and the kind of Five Eyes arrangement. Crucially, American presidents come and go. Donald Trump will not have another term. Maybe the Republicans come in, maybe they change tack, maybe it's the Democrats. But those things change, and therefore our relationship with the United States goes much deeper than that. What doesn't change in a communist system is the leader, and they will always be implacably opposed to the United Kingdom because of our love of liberty, our love of freedom, letting people say what they want to say. And you can fundamentally never have dealings with a communist state, as we discovered in the first Cold War.
And of course, Stella, the US are our closest allies, whether you like it or not, but they're also prepared to give us some home truths as well when it comes to things like illegal migration.
Or Afghanistan, for example, and the contribution of British troops, right? Like Donald Trump said that British troops did not really contribute much.
He didn't actually say that, though, did he, Stella? He said NATO troops.
He dismissed,
and
he diminished.
He did retract that statement
He diminished the involvement of his European allies in the war in Afghanistan. And Reform and Nigel Farage didn't have the guts to condemn him and instead justified him and said that, oh, surely they did what you're doing right now, justifying what is an insane
That is
betrayal.
an outrageous lie, that is, Stella. We did condemn Donald Trump's statement.
Nigel
we
Farage said
all
that he
did
didn't
that,
mean it.
so that you need to look back at what happened
That he
over the past
didn't
week.
mean it.
That
That
is
he
a
didn't
shocking
mean it.
thing to say. James?
And more than that, it made Donald Trump do the closest thing I've ever seen the man do to an apology, and big up the contribution of British troops. What is true, by the way, of course, in our involvement in Afghanistan and Iraq, is that British troops were sent in there without the right kind of kit and equipment, which is Tony Blair's slavishness to America, which was actually what was ruinous, and that needs to be addressed here. But the fundamental issue of China is that it is this massively powerful and very evil empire.
You say that, James, but they are sort of taking over the world without firing a bullet. They're going into countries, sometimes developing third world countries, building roads, infrastructure, railways, airports and stuff like that. And then these countries are in hock.
Yeah, absolutely right. They take this stuff very, very seriously. The Chinese Communist Party takes the long view at trying to spread its influence out there across the world, exactly as you say. They learn the lessons from the Soviet Union, so their economy is much better than the Soviet economy ever was. They'll do whatever works in terms of the economy and call it communism, which mostly means stealing.
Let's go back to our left in the corner, Stella. Are China taking over the world, Stella?
No more than the US has tried to over the years. And at this point, you have to pick, right? You have China, you have Russia, and you have America. And you have
Who would you pick?
You have to, well, I'm picking China right now.
Oh, that is absolutely extraordinary. This is extraordinary. These are people that sterilize the Uyghurs in Western China.
You know what? The way that you're talking about the American economy, the way you're talking about the American economy, and the trade with the US and the amount of money that we can do business with. Do you make the same arguments when it comes to the EU? Because the EU is equally an ally of us. It is as big a market as the US. So if this is your reason to continue going down to Donald Trump when he's acting the way he is, speaking about our interests and our civilization or society in the way that he is, are you telling me that this is a better ally than the EU?
Of course it is.
Whoa. James, before you come back in, this is Stella. By the way, you're a former Labour advisor. And you're saying now you would pick China over the United States. Is that right?
I think that at this stage, there is a lack of balance between how much attention and frankly sucking up to the US we have been doing versus how willing we have been to be realistic about China. I'm absolutely not saying that we should suddenly have the same relationship we used to have with the US with China. No, but we need to be realistic. And I think it is frankly childish with the security threats that we are facing to tell me that the Chinese embassy, which was first approved in 2018 is our biggest security threat right now.
James.
I mean, if we're talking about childishness, the idea that Donald Trump going around acting in the way that he does, which is not ideal, obviously, and throwing tariffs around, is in any way analogous to the way that the Chinese Communist Party behaves both at home and abroad, where it does do ethnic cleansing of people. It sterilizes en masse Uyghurs in the west of China. It unleashed through its lab leak the COVID pandemic and then lied about it. The way that it took over Hong Kong, the way that it represses its people.
And
whether that is in any way similar to Donald Trump acting is just pathetic.
And
to
what do you
suggest.
think Donald Trump is going to do if China, for example, decides to have a different policy on Taiwan? Do you think that given what he is doing in Greenland, given what he's doing in Venezuela, given the fact that he's allowing a paramilitary force to shoot his own citizens?
I mean, this is just pathetic.
Shooting
This
and
is just
killing
absolutely
his own citizens. That is what he's doing.
extraordinary.
Is he not? Is ICE not shooting and killing their own citizens? You are telling me that their functioning democracy is the reason why we prefer them to China. And I'm asking, where is the line? Where do you draw the line with Donald Trump?
It's very sad and horrific what's happening in America with some of these people being killed by ICE. We get that, Stella. But what about the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in China that get killed?
At least the Chinese government is not coming here and telling you, oh,
Wow.
wait a minute, we are the
Wow.
pinnacle of democracy and human rights, which is what Donald Trump continues. Donald Trump, as he is frustrating the Western civilization and values that he claims to fight for, he is literally undoing every single institutional safety mechanism that the American people have built over the years.
James,
and we
you've
are
gotta come
seeing
back.
that, and we're
You've
not
gotta come back,
criticizing.
James.
It's hard even to know where to start with some of this, right? I mean, this isn't a conversation primarily about the United States, but it seems to me that their
It's
constitution...
drifted that way. Every pubs of parliament,
Right.
this is what happens
Their
in a debate.
constitution has held up pretty well to
Yeah.
the way that the imperial presidency of Trump has pushed it, just as the increasingly imperial presidency of Obama did, and Clinton, and Reagan, and all the rest of it. Fundamentally, if you look at the United States, an imperfect country that is striving to do better, that has proper democratic norms, because it was their Congress that allowed the funding for the immigration and customs enforcement agents in order to kick out the 10 to 20 million illegal people who Biden had let into their country, is in any way analogous with the way that the Chinese Communist Party represses the people of China, then you need your head examining. With one little example of this, there were drones that were flying around in China during the lockdown that were speaking out in Mandarin through a loudspeaker to the people they'd locked away. Ignore your soul's desire for freedom, they told their own people. If that is in any way analogous in your head to the United States of America, then you need that head looking at.
It is not analogous, but at the same time, you have Trump, who's literally his favorite type of people to cozy up to is other dictators. So I do not see how you are making a moral argument in favor of the US. He is literally looking up to Putin, and frankly, the same is happening with some
Right, guys, we
reform
have to draw that to a
politicians
close
here.
now. We started off with the Chinese embassy and we ended up with Donald Trump. It always ends with Donald Trump, don't it?